your American dream?
I lived my dream, so I was lucky.
My American dream is for the U.S. government to finally accept that the U.S. nation, the American nation, is a nation full of other nations. You've got Latinos here, of course, you've got all the roots from African Americans, you've got Muslim people, Arab people in here.
My American dream, I've achieved it already. I'm retired for 18 years.
Nice.
And I get a pension and Social Security.
American dream is to kind of survive in the black and brown body, right? So whether you're Mexican, whether you're black, a lot of people are gonna look at you because you're black and brown. It's just a matter of saying like, hey, like I'm in this body. I didn't choose to be in this body, but I'm still great regardless.
My American dream is honestly to get my parents a home.
My American dream is just happiness. The American dream is what you make of it. There is no one American dream. It's whatever you make of it.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! Tap, tap, tap. Is this working properly? Hello, ladies and germs. Thank you so much for joining me today here at Brad Bernstein as I practice my stand-up comedy routine. As you know, Brad actually always wanted to be a stand-up comic. And as you know, I want to be just like Brad in every way. So I've decided to work on my stand-up routine. And I thank you for coming together to let me practice my stand-up with you. Okay, first joke. What do you call a groundhog's laundry? Hogwash. Okay, that seemed like a hit. Good, good, good. What do you call a groundhog who eats too much? A round hog! This one could really stump you guys. What side of the groundhog has the most hair? The outside! So that's it for now. Thank you so much for being part of the Groundhog Sam stand-up comedy routine.
All right, yay! All right. Groundhog, groundhog. Groundhog, 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 groundhog.
Oh, hello. Wow, that was amazing. You guys just caught Groundhog Sam's first stand-up comedy routine. And this was just the warm-up act. Now it's time for the main event. It's time for Bradshaw Live, starring Brad Bernstein. Enjoy!
Welcome, everybody, to Bradshaw Live. It is Monday, May 15th, 2023. And we haven't been on for 2 weeks, I believe. So it's been a little bit, but we're back. Let's say hello to the squad. Hello, Jessica Leamy. Squad up, my loves. Daryl Winterboss, squad up. Earth Angel, how are you? Squad up. Latoya, his Forever Peterson. She's still with him. Squad up. Zolani Fisher saying, hello, everybody. I said Daryl Winterbaugh. Westman, squad up. How are you? And Pana Crystal Cooper saying, yeah. And who else we got here? Samora, squad up. How are you? Kerry, hi, how are you, Kerry? What's going on? Willie L. Williams, squad up, everybody. Sophia, squad up, Sophia. What's going on? Blessing, squad up. And Chetty, squad up there to Chetty. And we have our first pre-schmooze question of the day. And it comes from Dean Stiles Hall. My mother has filed for me, and I'm weeks away according to the recent visa bulletin. My daughter is also on it, but is now 18 years old. Does she still qualify, or is she aged out? She doesn't age out till 21. So if you're weeks away, she is in luck. You'll be able to immigrate with her. Deanna Wright, also with a pre-schmooze question of the day. Sometimes when the pre-schmooze questions get really big, I got to stand up tall so you can see me talking. Other than that, I'd be like this, and you'd be like, who's talking? So I got to stand up like this. And it says, hi, Brad. I'm a green card holder. My children under 21 got documentarily qualified in February of 2023. How long are they taking to schedule interviews at the embassy in Jamaica? I filed for them. When you're documentarily qualified, pre-COVID, it should have taken about 3 months. Post-COVID, I'm sorry to say, in Jamaica, based on what I'm seeing, a year, sometimes longer. Mika saying, hello, squad up. And Porna Crystal saying, happy Monday, Brad Squad. I think I already said hello to Porna. Stacy also with a pre-schmooze question of the day. Hi, Brad. I have a question to ask. Can a United States citizen file for his grandfather on his dad's side that is living in the USA? No, you cannot file for grandparents on dad's side or mom's side. No such thing as grandchild filing for grandma or grandpa. Rog J. Roberts with a negative comment. I thought for a second he said, I like the groundhog. I was shocked. Nope, I read it wrong. He says, I still don't like Groundhog Sam. Rog J. Roberts, year after year, Mr. Negative. And Elizabeth Francis, squad up. How are you? We love Rog J anyway. And Elizabeth saying, big up to Mika. And we'll do one more pre-schmooze question. We'll get into all of the questions in our social media rundown. But here's one more pre-schmooze question from Emily Marshall. Hello, is there any truth that I can extend my H-2B even though I have an approved I-140 because I can't file the I-35 because of retrogression to maintain my status? You cannot do an H-2B extension because that is non-immigrant intent, and you have an approved I-140, which is immigrant intent. Now, if you do overstay and you are eligible to adjust within 180 days, you can still adjust under 245K. You probably will need to speak to a lawyer to figure out what options you have. And Maureen McFarlane saying hello. And Mika Hewitt, I just want to make sure that she's being polite back, saying big up Elizabeth. And I see some other questions. And Rog J. Roberts saying zup. And who else we got here? Abateo saying squad up. Rhonda Abrams, squad up. And Shopia, hello, Uncle Brad. Happy to see you. Thank you very much. Happy to see everybody as well. Shan saying, hey, y'all. Queasy from Ghana. All the way from Ghana. How are you, Queasy? And who else we got here? Anybody? Am I missing anybody? Efren, squad up, brother Brad. Thank you very much. Cynthia Wallace, there you are. Love you, Groundhog. Somebody showing some love for the Groundhog. All right, everybody. That is our squad up, our introduction. What's up, Brad Squad? And coming up, I'm going to be answering all your viewer calls. I do have to remind everybody that the telephone number to call our show, which, by the way, is the lines are already frozen, 1-800-529-5465. International is +1 212-227-8933. And I don't mean it's frozen because it's ice cold. I mean it's frozen because all the lines are used up already within the first 5 minutes of our show or 7 minutes of our show. And but it's still the same number. Will be scrolling at the bottom of your screen for the entire show. So if you want to call and reach out to me to schedule a consultation, the telephone number as it's scrolling across is 1-800-529-5465. International from Ghana, from Asia, from Europe, from Australia, from South America, Central America, wherever you are outside of the United States, international, it's +1 212-227-8933. You could also go to our website at www.lawsb.com. If you go to our website, www.lawsb.com, you can text us in real time, SMS text us in real time You can also send us an email through our contact page, and we will get back in contact with you as well. So that's more ways to reach out and speak to us at www.lawsb.com. But right now, we have to get into some schmoozing with Brad and catch up on all of the updates on immigration law. Let's see what's... All right, so USCIS announced it is now creating and providing documented evidence of status to certain new asylees and lawful permanent residents after receiving notification that an immigration judge of the Board of Immigration Appeals has approved and granted their status. The reason they're doing this is simple, because it takes USCIS more than a year to produce a green card. And if a person wins their case before an immigration judge, they have no proof for more than a year that they're even legal in the United States, that they're legal to work, they're legal to travel. So this is going to help people prove their legal status as soon as a judge or the Board of Immigration Appeals approves their case. As a result, USCIS field offices are now able to provide this documentation by mail instead of having people, asylees and lawful permanent residents, schedule an in-person appointment and wait there all day long to get a stupid stamp in your passport. Now it's all going to be done. I don't want to say stupid stamp. That's a little much, but let's call it just a stamp of permanent residence. It becomes, when I say stupid, it's just because you're waiting there for 10 hours for them just to 5 seconds of their life just to stamp something in your passport. So now they're going to do it all through mail. And hopefully that will make it certainly a lot more convenient than waiting in line at USCIS to speak to somebody all day. Now, USCIS began this effort in August 22 by mailing Form I-94 arrival departure record with certain asylee cases, but now they are expanding it to everybody who has been granted asylum by an immigration judge or been granted their lawful permanent residence via adjustment of status by an immigration judge. And on May 3rd, 2023, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services posted a notice in the Federal Register for the extension and expansion of eligibility for deferred enforced departure for Hong Kong residents. And the notice also explains how eligible residents of Hong Kong may apply for employment authorization documents. On January 26, 2023, President Biden issued a memorandum extending and expanding deferred enforced departure for Hong Kong residents for another 24 months. Eligible Hong Kong residents covered under deferred enforced departure as of January 26, 2023, may remain in the United States through February 5th, 2025, and are eligible to work in the United States. Now, the Department of Homeland Security may provide travel authorization at its discretion to those covered under deferred enforced departure for Hong Kong. They also provide travel authorization, it's called advanced parole, to anybody who's covered under TPS or deferred enforced departure. Individuals who wish to travel outside of the United States based on deferred enforced departure or TPS must file the Form I-131 application for travel document to request advance parole. And America's pandemic era Title 42 restrictions came to an end this past Thursday, May 11th. It's a milestone that officials worried could trigger a major new wave of migration that strains border facilities and big cities across the United States of America. All along the nearly 2,000 miles of border, agents, soldiers, and local officials were striving to maintain order even before lifting of the policy as a migrant surge has resulted due to global shifts in migration patterns as economic and political forces. The end of COVID has displaced millions across the globe, sending many towards the United States to seek refuge. Now, the COVID border restrictions, known as Title 42, they were first implemented by the Trump administration in 2020, right at the beginning of COVID, and continued into the Biden administration until they expired late Thursday. Now, the restriction allowed both presidential administrations, both Trump and Biden, to expedite the expulsion of migrants without any asylum hearings. In the weeks leading up to the lifting of Title 42, the Biden administration braced for what was widely expected to be a record surge in migration across the United States-Mexico border. And the end of the COVID-19 pandemic emergency after 3 years has forced the United States to once again confront its international obligations to shelter those in need. The images of desperate migrants and overburdened immigration officials are playing out across the border from California to Texas. The El Paso City Council extended a state of emergency to handle the large number of arrivals. They converted 2 vacant schools into shelters. In McAllen, Texas, the city set up extra tents at Anzaldes Park next to a busy migration point. In Washington, D.C., Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, said officials were as prepared as they could be given the legal and funding constraints of an immigration system that he said still operated under outdated assumptions from the early 1990s when migration was completely different. Mayorkas confidently told reporters at the White House on Thursday, "Our plan is going to deliver results." And perhaps Biden's policies, they're working faster than even his own administration expected. On Sunday, yesterday, Mayorkas said on CNN's State of the Union that over the past 2 days, over the Friday, Saturday, going into Sunday, the United States Border Patrol has experienced a 50% drop in the number of encounters versus what we were experiencing earlier in the week before Title 42 ended at midnight on Thursday. But he did caution it's still too early to tell if the migrant surge has peaked. Mayorkas says, "We are only on day 3, but we have been planning for this transition for months and months, and we've been executing on our plan, and we will continue to do so." On Saturday, 2 Department of Homeland Security officials also indicated that daily migrant crossings had roughly halved since the pandemic restrictions ended. The officials told NBC News there were roughly 11,000 migrants on Tuesday and Wednesday and 10,000 on Thursday. Prior to the lifting of Title 42, many Republicans and some Democrats expressed skepticism on whether the administration was prepared for a potential uptick in asylum seekers. In fact, the House passed a Republican-backed bill to address immigration at the United States-Mexico border last week on the same day that Title 42 was lifted. The legislation, known as the Secure the Border Act of 2023, that would mandate that Customs and Border Protection hire enough Border Patrol agents to maintain a staff of 22,000 officers and develop a plan to upgrade existing technology to make sure agents are well equipped to do their job. It also would require the Homeland Security Secretary to resume construction of the border wall, a centerpiece of Donald Trump's administration. Now, this is just a bill that passed the House of Representatives. It needs to pass the Senate, and President Biden needs to sign it, so it is unlikely to become law. Democrats have been opposing it. They hold a slim majority in the Senate, and the White House has already said they're going to veto it. Democrats argued that it would go beyond the scope of border security, punish all non-citizens, including legal residents, trafficking victims, as well as refugees. And in an attempt to limit the surge in the border crossings, when the pandemic-era Title 42 measure expired this past Thursday, the Biden administration has made changes in policy. On Wednesday, the amount of time asylum seekers have to find lawyers before their crucial first interviews with immigration officials has been cut. The Trump administration issued a similar policy in 2019, but that effort was later blocked by a federal court. Critics say Biden's move is the latest example of him adopting Trump-style schemes in an attempt to manage high numbers of border crossings. Biden's version of this policy, outlined in an email sent to asylum officers, gives asylum seekers only 24 hours to find and consult an attorney once they receive information on the asylum process. Before the change, migrants had at least 2 full days from their arrival at a Department of Homeland Security facility to find a lawyer. The move, according to Biden officials, will allow officers to more rapidly remove and deport migrants who do not pass their first screening, known as the credible fear interview. An email from a lead U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services official announcing the change on asylum also said the migrants who request to reschedule their initial interviews will need to demonstrate extraordinary circumstances in order not to unreasonably delay the process. The email said USCIS will continually assess whether a return to the 48-hour waiting period is appropriate. In credible fear interviews, migrants who convince an asylum officer that they have a well-founded fear of persecution in their home country get to stay in the United States and pursue their asylum case in immigration court. Migrants who can't clear that bar are deported immediately. When Trump changed the policy to 24 hours, it was one of the first changes under the leadership of then USCIS head Ken Cuccinelli, who followed Trump's continuous efforts to limit asylum at the border and deport more migrants. Urge Adu, Biden's new director of USCIS, called Trump's effort another way to limit the process. He said it would lead to more deportations. In fact, a federal court blocked the policy after advocates challenged the legality of Cuccinelli's appointment. Yet here we are. Biden is now following that same policy. Aaron Reichlin-Melnick, policy director at the American Immigration Council, said Thursday, for asylum seekers, credible fear interviews are often matters of life and death, cutting in half the time that people have to prepare for what might be the most important interview of their life raises the risk of errors even higher. While the administration has pursued deterrence-focused policies, it has also opened up more slots for asylum seekers to seek entry at ports of entries and border crossings, and will create processing centers to help migrants determine whether they have a legal path to the United States. At the same time, the Biden administration, to their credit, is allowing migrants from Honduras, Colombia, El Salvador, and Guatemala to enter the United States and apply for parole if they qualify for family reunification. And the Department of Homeland Security will continue to allow immigrants from Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Venezuela who have verified sponsors in the United States to apply to enter the country legally. Now, in preparation for the end of Title 42 policy, the Biden administration also announced that the Pentagon has dispatched additional active duty troops to the United States-Mexico border to help in securing the border and assist the Department of Homeland Security. An additional 1,500 active military duty troops have been dispatched to the U.S.-Mexican border for at least 90 days, and that is already joining 2,500 National Guard troops already on the border, putting the U.S. military at 4,000 active military troops on the border, plus Department of Homeland Security agents. And United States and Mexican officials have also agreed on new immigration policies meant to deter illegal border crossings, while also opening up other pathways ahead of the expected increase in migrants following the end of Title 42. Homeland Security Advisor Liz Sherwood Randall met with Mexico President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador and other top officials on May 2nd, emerging with a 5-point plan. Under the agreement, Mexico will continue to accept migrants from Venezuela, Haiti, Cuba, and Nicaragua who are turned away at the border, and up to 100,000 individuals from Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador who have family in the United States, and they will be eligible to live and work here. Mexico's support is critical to any push by the United States to clamp down at the southern border, particularly as migrants from nations from as far away as Haiti are making the trek on foot up through Mexico, and they are not easily returned back to their home countries. The United States will continue to turn away Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Venezuelans who cross illegally. Mexico said it will continue to accept up to 30,000 migrants per month from these 4 countries that are making up a ballooning share of the overall illegal border crossings. And on April 27th, the United States announced it will be also working with Colombia and Guatemala to set up regional processing centers to allow migrants to apply to come to the United States from Colombia and from Guatemala before they attempt the grueling journey through Central America and Mexico. And a program the Biden administration started earlier this year to discourage unlawful border crossings by allowing migrants to use a phone app to set up appointments at international bridges where U.S. officials determine whether they should be allowed into the country to request asylum, while the phone apps will continue beyond Title 42. In fact, the Biden administration is planning to make the process powered by the app. It's called the CBP-1. It's going to become the main portal to the United States asylum system at the southern border, sending the message that those who fail to wait for an appointment and attempt to enter the country without inspection will be swiftly turned back. More than 60,000 asylum seekers have secured appointments to enter the United States since the CBP-1 app became available to migrants in mid-January, according to unpublished government data. Most of those who have scheduled appointments hail from Venezuela, Haiti, Russia, Mexico, Honduras, Cuba, Chile, and Brazil. But human rights advocates have said the strategy has also fueled an intensifying humanitarian crisis in northern Mexico, where migrants have grown increasingly frustrated by their inability to secure one of 1,000 coveted appointments distributed each morning. You have 60, 70, 80,000, maybe even 100,000 people trying to get 1,000 appointments per day. Probably a 1 in 100 chance, 1 in 90 chance of actually getting an appointment on any given day, and then sitting there at the border hoping that the next day you'll have a better chance. Now, despite all of these concerns, the Biden administration officials have defended the CBP-1 process as an attempt to maintain some access to the overwhelmed United States asylum system, while also preventing unlawful border crossings from returning to the unprecedented levels reported last year. Immigration authorities have been trying to make improvements to the CBP-1 app. On May 5th, the administration increased the number of migrants allowed to enter the United States daily under the CBP-1 process, and those appointments are now made available throughout the day. They raised the number from 750 to 1,000. The number of participating bridges has also increased, and immigration authorities said they've changed the CBP-1 scheduling system to prioritize migrants who have been waiting the longest for an appointment. Anyone with a smartphone can download the CBP-1 app. And the app, which is available in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole, asks migrants to create a profile and submit a photo of their face and basic information, such as their legal name, nationality, and date of birth. Meanwhile, anxiety about new arrivals has spread beyond the border. Texas has been transporting thousands and thousands of migrants to cities like New York, Chicago, and Washington, D.C. for the last few months. New York City Mayor Eric Adams has asked the federal government to stop giving Federal Emergency Management Agency funds to the Texas border cities using federal dollars to rent buses and then ship the migrants north for northern cities to deal with. According to Politico, more than 65,000 asylum seekers have arrived in the past year. New York City immigration advocates held signs outside City Hall on Thursday that said, "Immigrants are New York," a day after Mayor Eric Adams moved to ease the city's right to shelter rules. Adams has said the influx of migrants will cost the city more than $4 billion over the next 2 years. He said, "This is just wrong. What is happening to New York City is wrong." Both Adams and Texas Governor Abbott want help from the federal government, but they have different ideas about what that help should look like. Mayor Adams in New York City wants the federal government to help deal with asylum seekers already in the United States in an orderly and fair way. Governor Abbott of Texas wants the federal government to repel people at the border, keep them out. Last week, Mayor Adams' office indicated a plan to send about 300 migrants to Rockland and Orange counties, leading to intense criticism by the Republican county executives of Rockland and Orange over the move and subsequent court fights to block it. Just people are being used as pawns. That's really what it comes down to, and it's sad. And in Florida on Wednesday, Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law a sweeping Florida immigration bill that bolsters his migrant relocation program and limits social services for immigrants lacking permanent legal status. Key political priorities of the Republican base as he prepares to launch a presidential campaign against Donald Trump. The signing came a day before the expiration of Title 42. DeSantis, he is expected to announce his presidential candidacy in the next few weeks, has made hardening Florida's immigration laws a top priority as he heaps criticism on federal border policy, and he takes a hard right stance geared toward getting elected by the Republican primary voters. The law provides $12 million for DeSantis' migrant relocation initiative, which drew national attention last year when the governor flew a group of South American migrants from Texas to Martha's Vineyard, a move intended to protest federal immigration policy. It also expands requirements for businesses with more than 25 staffers to use E-Verify, a federal system that determines if employees can legally work in the United States. And it prohibits local governments from providing money to organizations that issue identification cards to immigrants lacking permanent legal status in the country, and invalidates out-of-state driver's licenses held by people living in the country illegally. Another provision requires hospitals that accept Medicaid to include a citizenship question on intake forms, which critics have said is intended to dissuade immigrants living in the U.S. illegally from seeking medical care. Last week, the DeSantis administration made public that it had selected 3 vendors it intends to use for the governor's migrant relocation program, suggesting that additional air flights or relocations are likely. One of the vendors is the same aviation company DeSantis' office used for the flight to Martha's Vineyard. A spokeswoman for the governor's Division of Emergency Management, where the migrant relocation program is housed, said contracts with the vendors are still being negotiated. Senate Democratic leader Lauren Book said in a statement that after the signing, instead of using people as political pawns, he should be focused on the job in Florida. This bill is misguided, dysfunctional, disingenuous, and it's a disingenuous way to deal with a problem the federal government should be in charge of fixing. Meanwhile, the crush of asylum claims at the United States-Mexico border is complicating the immigration debate in Washington, D.C., and threatening to undermine what some lawmakers have viewed as the best hope in a decade for Congress to forge a comprehensive immigration deal. For decades, bipartisan discussions on compromise focused on pairing beefed-up border security with a pathway to legalization for undocumented immigrants and expanded legal pathways to entry. But in recent years, an explosion in the number of migrants seeking asylum, protected status for those fearing persecution in their home country, it has exposed deep political and moral divisions. This shift explains why talks on Capitol Hill to find a consensus on a comprehensive immigration overhaul has stalled year after year. Despite lawmakers' hopes that the expiration of Title 42 this year would force Congress to act. But it doesn't look like Congress is going to act. Asylum claims were intended to be reserved in this discussion for people fearing persecution on the basis of race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a social group to seek protection on U.S. soil. But in the past couple of years, asylum has increasingly become a go-to tactic for migrants with no other options to enter the United States and who know it can take years and years and years before their case is heard to file asylum claims, even if unfounded. According to data analyzed by the Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse at Syracuse University, pending asylum claims before the immigration courts have grown more than sevenfold over the last decade, forcing the issue into the center of the congressional debate. And in recent months, Republicans and Democrats have embraced radically different positions on how to address abuse in the asylum system. Republicans have proposed steps to restrict access across the board, pushing legislation through the House last week that would require migrants claiming a credible fear of persecution to wait outside the United States for their cases to be heard in court. They only narrowly stopped short of approving language that would have shut down the asylum system if the United States ran out of detention beds. Democrats have largely gone in the other direction, embracing a right to seek asylum protections as intrinsic to the character of the United States and calling for expanding other pathways to legal immigration to alleviate the strain. Bipartisan talks in the Senate about an immigration overhaul hit a snag recently over the most high-profile proposal to emerge from the discussions, a proposal by Senators Kristen Sinema, Independent of Arizona, and Tom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, to give Biden administration a 2-year authority to speedily expel migrants trying to cross the border, but with a carve-out for asylum claims that did not exist under Title 42. Sinema and Tillis have said that they saw their proposal, which has earned some support from Republicans and moderate Democrats in the Senate and House, as a potential centerpiece for a broader bill that would include border security measures and a pathway to citizenship for unauthorized migrants brought to the United States as children. During the last Congress, they attempted to rally support around a similar blueprint, but ran out of time to complete their work. Experts have said that the law could further complicate efforts to strike a deal, pointing out that the situation at the border, particularly around the asylum issue, is changing faster than lawmakers drafting bills are responding to it. As the situation at the border changes, the parties are moving further into opposite corners. Last week, the administration rolled out a new set of rules I just discussed to address the expected spike in asylum claims after Title 42's demise, despite calls from several leading Democrats, including Representative Gerald Nadler of New York, the top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee, to reconsider. Republicans, by contrast, have accused the administration of holding up progress in Congress by refusing to take more restrictive steps at the border. Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, a key negotiator in past efforts to write comprehensive immigration bills, wrote to the administration, "Stop the flow. If you can control the flow, regain control of the border, then you have a chance to talk about what we've been talking about for 15 years. Without that, you're probably going nowhere." It's a great irony of the U.S. political debate that immigration drives such a visceral divide, since the country lives on and needs immigrants, both to address labor shortages, reduce inflation, and to obtain tax dollars from immigrants to shore up Social Security and Medicaid that are running out of funding, but for immigrants' employment taxes. And finally, I have another update from a former Bradshaw Live guest whose story we have profiled on the show. Laura Meza, the only known female deported veteran, returned to the United States on April 16th after a 14-year exile. Laura was a 28-year-old single mother and U.S. Army veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder and drug addiction when she was deported from the United States in 2009. She set foot on American soil for the first time in over 14 years as a 42-year-old grandmother while still dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder, had turned her life around and earned a rare opportunity to return to the United States, the country she served during the war in Iraq. Meza's return was made possible by a Biden administration effort to rectify deportations that it deems were unjust by allowing some immigrants who were deported after serving in the military to come back to the United States. Since the summer of 2021, the Department of Homeland Security program, known as the Immigrant Military Members and Veterans Initiative, has allowed 62 deported veterans and 9 of their family members to enter the United States legally to reunite with their families, access veteran affairs benefits, and explore paths to American citizenship and restart their lives. Meza immigrated to the United States from San Jose, Costa Rica in 1985 at the age of 5 years old. She basically knew no other country than the United States of America. She grew up in Maryland, graduated from high school in Washington, D.C. In 2001, she became a permanent resident. 2 years later, she enlisted in the U.S. Army to work as a dentist. While stationed in Germany, Meza said she was raped by another soldier. She did not report it, fearing retaliation. Then the war broke out in Iraq, and she, being in Germany, was deployed to Iraq to support the 2003 invasion. There she witnessed active war, including bomb attacks that killed some of her fellow soldiers in a mass casualty incident. In 2004, she was honorably discharged, but she was suffering from undiagnosed post-traumatic stress disorder, both from her unreported rape and her active duty military. She began to self-medicate with drugs. In 2005, she reported being raped a second time. And soon after that, her troubles began. Real troubles with the law. Following several arrests, Meza pled guilty to attempted robbery and possession of marijuana with intent to distribute in Washington, D.C. This was 2007. She received a 30-day prison sentence for the marijuana offense and a 2-year suspended sentence for the attempted robbery. She was also ordered to get drug abuse treatment during her probation. But after serving her 30 days in prison, ICE came for Laura, Immigration's Customs Enforcement. They detained her for over 1 year in immigration jail and then deported her to Costa Rica in January 2009. Despite her uncertain legal situation, Laura is thankful to be back in the United States. She's planning to get treatment for her lingering post-traumatic stress disorder through the Veterans Administration. And after embracing her family after landing in Dulles International Airport from Costa Rica, once she and her 12-year-old Costa Rican-born son, Jaden, were released from Customs and Border Protection custody, she told CBS News, "I'm still walking on clouds. This is like a dream." When Laura appeared on Bradshaw Live in 2019, she had already spent 10 years in deportation, living in Costa Rica alone. She told me how she felt about her service in the U.S. military.
The reason that I joined the Army was because I wanted to be an Army dentist. I wanted a career.
So joining me today from Cal. All right, I think we're having problems. There we are.
The initial reason that I joined the Army was because I wanted to be an Army dentist. I wanted a career in it as an Army dentist and to give my daughter Jasmine a better future. I always thought about college. I love education and learning and reading. But I was also told about the great benefits of naturalization, the healthcare benefits and education benefits. So that was also very appealing. But now, after actually being deported, I realized what a great country I served. And that now I feel more patriotic. Even I remember Hector Baraja saying this, and something I saw, him on. But I really understand where he comes from when he says you feel even more patriotic when you're in another country that you didn't grow up in. And then I put my life on the line for my country, and I feel that's the most patriotic demonstration of love and pride. I started to feel a lot of pride after basic training in AIT while I was in the military. I had leadership positions at times, and I felt, great. I never left anyone behind either. I was the one always carrying the soldier left last behind. I didn't want to leave anybody behind. I was selfless. And, all the moral principles and values that my dad and mom taught me as a kid just were reinstilled even more in the military.
Well, we are extraordinarily grateful that she is back in the United States. I thought any person who puts their life in the line of fire to support my freedom deserves to live in the United States. If they commit a crime, yes, they should go to jail. But they shouldn't get a second punishment and get deported to a country they don't know. Not if they put their lives on the line for me, defending my freedom, defending my ability to do this show, to talk freely, to walk the streets freely. So I commend her bravery, and I'm very happy when I hear her story and 67 other deported veterans who returned to the United States. Before we get into our meat and potatoes, which is me answering your immigration questions, we have 12 people on hold right now. Lines are locked and loaded. I want to talk about a success story from Spar and Bernstein. For years, Brian struggled to get his green card. As a matter of fact, it was 28 years. And for decades, he hoped that U.S. immigration policy would change and grant him a path to citizenship. He spent thousands and thousands of dollars on lawyers who, in the end, were unable to help him. In 2012, he came to Spar and Bernstein with attorney Emily Walsh. They overcame some huge hurdles. And now we are very happy to say we were able to obtain Brian's lawful permanent residence. And this is why we do what we do. Let's watch Brian and what he had to say when he came to the office to collect his green card.
So we wait and just hoping that the immigration situation might change for the better. It never did, really. It was 96 or 95.
You didn't know us at the time.
First interview, they told me to come back in 6 months. We went back there 6 months after. This woman said, we have to arrest you. Went to this lawyer and he said, it's going to cost you $5,000 and it's 5% chance that they might reopen. I've never seen $5,000 yet, right, in this country. Making $6 an hour. Audrey wasn't working at the time.
When did you come to us?
I think probably 2012.
2012. So it took us a few years. We had to have multiple motions to reopen, but I think we finally did it.
Yeah.
The lawyer that I was working on my case before I came here, the guy, he took $6,000 from me, never really did anything.
28 years later, it took you until you came to us. All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. All right, we're going to go to our meat and potatoes now. You've got immigration questions. I've got your answers. Let's do it. Okay, we got Omer. Omer,
Yes,
how are you?
Yes, sir.
What's going on? How can I help you? Speak up, Omer.
Yeah, hey, quick question. If you can help me, or I will be appreciated.
Okay.
Here's the situation. I bring a wife over from Bosnia here in the United States. We're married, and it's about filing the I-751.
All right, so she has a 2-year green card.
Right.
Okay.
Here's the question. She has let me quickly explain to you. She has a 2-child. One is married down in Bosnia. One is live with ex-husband. So when I fill out this form I-751, do I need a list of those childs or not?
Do those children have green cards?
No, they don't have any green cards. They live in Bosnia.
Okay. Is the U.S. government aware of these children when you filed for your wife?
Yes.
Okay, then you add them on the case. These children exist, but they're not in the United States. No big deal.
No, they're not in the United States. They're in Bosnia.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you just add them on. They ask who would name of your children. You answer the question.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Right.
so they must be on it.
Yeah.
Okay, do I owe you anything? I'm willing to pay you if you want. I don't care.
You owe me for this?
Or,
No, this is free.
Oh, okay then.
All right.
I appreciate it. God bless you for doing that for the people.
Thank you
like
very
me.
much. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
spread the word. Thank you for calling.
bye-bye.
Okay. All right, let's go to Ada in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Ada.
Yes, this is Ata, yeah?
Yes. What can I do to help
This
you?
is Brad.
Mhm.
So, Brad, my name is Ata. I live in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Okay.
And I'm a U.S. citizen. And I already applied for my daughter. I sponsored her, and my I-130 is approved. And now my daughter is in U.S. on a TN visa because
Okay.
she's a Canadian citizen. and her PD is current. So can I do her adjustment of status in US?
Her priority date is current right now.
Yes, sir.
When did she come to the United States? When did she last enter the U.S.?
Actually, she came like two years before, and she started a nursing program as a student. And after that, then she got a OPT, and now she's working as a nursing in Michigan.
When did she change her status from OPT to TN visa?
That is a 3 months before, 90 days before.
90 days. Okay. So if it's more than 90 days, you can put in the adjustment immediately. Yes.
So, should I go through adjustment of status, or should
Yes.
I go through?
You should go through
consular
adjustment of
visa,
status. Go through adjustment of status. It'll be a lot faster than sending her back to Canada to pick up a green card.
Okay, right. Okay, Brad, thank you very much for you taking me call. Thank you.
You're very welcome. If you need help, hold on one second.
I will, yeah.
All right. So let's go to Tamara in Jersey. Tamara.
Hi, good evening, Brad.
Yeah.
And good evening to all the team members who make it possible. My question is, my VAWA was approved in January of this year. It took 1 year for them to approve it, but I filed my green card application separate. I filed my green card application in February of this year. Usually they say it took
when you say you filed your green card application, you're talking about your adjustment of status.
Yes, because
Right.
I did them separate. So my VAWA get approved first, and then I did a green card application.
Okay.
My question is, because they usually say it takes typically 3 years to get a VAWA approved, would it still take me 3 years from February this year to get the green card approved?
No, about 1 year.
1 year? Okay, thank you so much, and thanks for the amazing work you're doing.
Thank you. Good luck. Let's go to Joy in Hudson, Florida. Joy.
Hi, yes. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
I would like to ask a question. I filed for my brother and my sister in 2009, August. I received a I-797, and I did pay some money up front, but I haven't heard anything since then. And my sister is telling me that I can send an affidavit of support somewhere.
No, you need to get an approved I-130 first before you start randomly sending affidavits somewhere. Have you gone online? Are you certain the case has not been approved yet? Are you certain the case has not been adjudicated yet?
I don't know, sir, because I have been having problems when you go, there's so many different sites.
Okay.
You need to go
Do you know how to use a computer?
Yes, a little bit, not an expert, but somewhat.
If you go to USCIS.gov, okay, I'm going to actually go there myself now, so I'll tell you exactly where to go. That's the U.S. immigration website, okay? And then just write this down. On the right-hand corner of the home page, you'll see something that says Tools. Click on Tools, like tools, like you have a hammer, a screwdriver, Tools.
Yes.
Okay. Click on Tools. Okay. Then scroll down to the middle of the page. On the middle of the page, you will see a big computer screen that says Case Status Online. Click on that. It will then take you to a page on U.S. Immigration and Immigration Services where it will say enter a receipt number. The receipt number you take off the form I-797 that you received. Type in the receipt number and then see what it says. If it says your case was approved, that means the case was approved and should be at the National Visa Center. Then yes, you should contact the National Visa Center about processing affidavits of support and everything. If it says case received and nothing else has happened, then that means your case has been sitting there for 14 years. You better speak to a lawyer about what to do about it. Or it's possible your case got denied and you don't even know. Then you also need to speak to a lawyer. So step one is figure out what happened to your case, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I got a number. I have a what you call it, a receipt number and a GEO number. The last time when I spoke to someone on the phone.
No. It's the receipt number that you have on the I-797.
Okay, that's the only number I should use.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. And then if you have a problem, call back my office and schedule a consultation with me.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
All right. Bye.
Jessica Leamy laughing at me. Do you know how to use a computer? Some people don't. I don't know. Just want to make sure. Laughing at me for. All right. Anthony in West Palm, Florida. Anthony. Yes. And by the way, Robert Jackson with a good comedy line. Uncle Brad is lawyer and frontline tech support. All right, Anthony, what's going on?
Hi, good afternoon. I would just like to know if I'm working or if I did work unauthorized, if it would be a problem with my green card application.
Who's sponsoring you?
My wife.
Your wife's a citizen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The fact that you worked illegally, unlawfully, whatever you want to call it, does not bar you from getting a green card.
Okay.
So the answer is no. You will be able to get a green card if you worked unlawfully or didn't work unlawfully, being married to a U.S. citizen and filing your adjustment.
Okay.
Lying about unlawful employment would get you denied. So if, for example, one of the questions is, say what your employment is, and you say none, and USCIS finds out that you've been working unlawfully for 5 years, they're going to deny you for lying. So you want to tell the truth. The only time unlawful employment can come back and bite you in the ass is if that unlawful employment was within the first 90 days of your entry into the U.S. or within 90 days of you changing your status within the U.S. As long as you didn't work unlawfully the first 90 days of your entry, any unlawful employment after the first 90 days gets you a green card. Doesn't matter.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Another question I have is there a wrong or right time to file the paperwork?
Yes.
Meaning, okay. What would that be?
Meaning the wrong time is the future. The right time is now. Because one, you don't know what the future will be, what changes they're going to make. And two, until you file, you'll never become legal. So get legal as quickly as possible. So there's the right time and the wrong time, and the right time is now and the wrong time is tomorrow. Okay?
All right. Thank you. Sounds good.
Good luck. All right. Let's go to Navi in Nashville, Tennessee. Navi.
Hey,
hi, Navi.
Attorney Brad, how you doing?
What's going on? How can I help you?
I got a question regarding citizenship. I'll be I'll explain to you the whole scenario in short. So I got my green card through my parents in December 2018, and I got married in 2020. Now my ex-wife, she was on visitor visa. When I filed for a divorce, she put a bogus domestic violence case on me to qualify for the WAWA, some kind of WAWA visa. Eventually, the case got dismissed, and I did not plead guilty. I was not put into any kind of probation. On the disposition, it says null pros, not willing to prosecute.
Okay,
so I'm about to hit my 5-year mark of the green card. So people, they're like scaring me that you have to have a good moral character. I mean,
all right. So let me answer. I understand what you're saying. Let me answer your question. Yes, you have to have good moral character. You have to have good moral character for 5 years. Every time you get arrested, that may affect your good moral character. People of good moral character get arrested. Now, in your particular case,
Right.
You got arrested one time. And I will
Yes,
say,
sir.
and the charges were ultimately dismissed against you. Now, I'll
Yes.
say also two things. One, the law doesn't say you have to have good moral character every second of your life. It just says you have to
Right.
be a person of general good moral character. That means you can
Right.
you can F up sometimes and still be a good person. So
Right.
or perhaps you can just have a bad day or a bad night. And having a bad day or a bad
Uh-huh.
night doesn't make you a bad person. Or as you suggest,
Right.
you have been a good person and your wife made up
Uh-huh.
these charges against you. I have no idea. Nobody would know. Only you and your wife know. So my answer
Yes.
in all three scenarios, you would pass your citizenship. If we say you're a person of general good moral character, you don't have to be a good person of general good moral character every second of your life. Well, yeah, you had a bad 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You had an off day, an off night, or perhaps your wife made up charges against you, which is what you're saying. Either way, it doesn't matter. You had one bad day in
Uh-huh.
5 years, you're fine. And the charges were dismissed against you.
Yeah. So the another question is, should I? Because
The answer is
should
file
I?
your citizenship.
Okay, so I don't need to wait for another 5 years.
No,
So
because I
can
just
file
said
it
you're
within.
allowed to have a bad day. You're allowed to have a bad night. You don't have to be a
Okay.
person of
All
good
right.
moral character every second of your life. Even me, somebody of fabulous moral character, sometimes screws up. It's a fact of life.
Uh-huh.
You're not perfect.
Right.
You're not God.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for that. That was my
Go
question.
file your citizenship. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
And nothing bad's going to happen to you. You don't have any convictions. The worst that could happen is you get an immigration officer who disagrees with me and says you're a bad guy. You're denied. I don't think that's going to happen. And if it does, you should hire a good lawyer because it shouldn't happen. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's go to Jevin in Panama Beach City, Florida. Jevin. Hi, Jevin.
Hello.
Hi. Is it Jevin or Javon?
Yes.
Maybe Javon. Is it Javon or Jevin?
Javon.
Javon. Okay. How are you, Javon?
All right. So, quick question. What I'm having. My mom, she came up, but she had overstayed on her visa, but it's less than 180 days. She already knows that going back home, her visa will be not in. Basically, she need to get a new one.
Correct. And she won't get it.
Will come again?
She will not get it.
She won't get it back.
Nope.
No. All right. So
unless she was, God forbid, in a coma or something that made it impossible for her to leave. But other than that, she's not going to get it back.
All right. Thank you so much. That answered the question.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go to Marie in the Bronx.
My mom.
Marie.
Hello.
Marie.
Yes.
Lower your
Hi. How are you?
And just listen on to the telephone, the actual phone call.
Okay. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you, Marie?
I am doing good. I'm a bit confused, Brad, and that's why I want to ask you a question. So I got an email, a courtesy notice. It says, I got an email from USCIS. It says, courtesy notice I-693 medical form.
Right.
And it's saying that the USCIS has completed pre-processing checks on the application listed below, and it has transferred to the New York City field office.
All good news.
Huh?
It's all good news.
Okay, for processing. But what I'm trying to figure out is, do I wait for them to give me an RFE? Because they're saying that I should.
You do nothing. This was just a courtesy letter saying everything looks great. You're missing a medical. You either bring the medical to the interview, or if you're lucky, you'll get an RFE for the medical and just get approved without an interview. But you never submit any document. You do nothing.
Okay.
But wait for the next letter. Either give us your medical now or come to the interview. Either way, if they say give us the medical now, they'll give you 30 days. You'll go to the doctor and do it. If they say you know, you have your interview. You'll probably have about 14 days before from the letter to the interview. So you'll go do it in that 14-day window.
Okay, but I got this letter I think last week, Friday or the week before, and I just did the medical on Saturday.
All right. So hopefully, hopefully they send you the notice for the medical or the interview within 6 months, which they should, and then the medical will be good. You won't have to pay for it twice. My advice is always don't do it until they actually ask for it, because you don't want to have to pay for it twice. But you should get something within. Okay.
Okay, and they're asking another thing, Brad. They're asking that while review of the application is pending, I can supplement the file with additional documentation that you believe may support your eligibility for the benefit. What are they talking about?
Bona fides of the marriage. Proof that you and your husband live together. Proof that you and your husband, I assume traditional marriage. I shouldn't assume anymore. Proof that you and your spouse live together. Proof that you have a financial relationship.
Thank you, because it was confusing me, because I was wondering, should I just act on it now, because they're saying that I could take it in to them in Manhattan. Okay, so do nothing until I get the other letter stating how I'm going to go about doing it.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
By the way,
appreciate
it's all good news. You want to know why?
Thank you so much.
They transferred it to New York. That means your case is moving along.
Okay. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
All right, let's go to Raju in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Raju. 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 You know what you're on? You're on Bradshaw Live, Raju. Going once. Going twice for Raju. We're going to put him on hold. I don't know what he's doing. Let's go to Tyson in Staten Island. Tyson.
Hello.
Hi, how are you? Tristan. Not Tyson, Tristan. Is it Tristan?
Hello.
Name? Hi.
Yeah, this is. Hi.
What is your name? How do you pronounce it? Tristan. Tristan. Okay. Can you lower the actual show you're watching behind you, because it's getting feedback?
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, it is. What can I do to help you?
Hi, good day. So I'm actually filling out my 485 form on my own, and I stumbled on a question saying, have you ever received long-term institutional at government expense?
Long-term.
And I'm not sure exactly.
Read the question again.
What they mean.
What's the question again?
It says that, have you ever received long-term institutional at government expense? It's like a yes or no question.
You're not reading the full question. But the answer is, have you been institutionalized at government expense? Have you been in a hospital or psychiatric ward that the government paid for it?
No, that I've never. But I have a son that was born here in 2000.
That's not you. That's your son. Question is you. The answer is no.
Okay.
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 Anything else?
Yes. Also, if my dad, that's a Jamaican citizen, bringing up my son that is a U.S. citizen born, will he have any problem with like immigration or customs?
He shouldn't, but you never know until you cross the border and come into the airport. But presumably a grandfather can take his grandson to the United States.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bradley.
All right. Good luck. Bradley. Pana in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Pana. Kapana.
I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Is it Kapana or Pana? Is the case
It's
silent? Kapana. Okay.
Silent. Yes.
Okay. What can I do to help you?
Yes. So I am an international student.
Right.
And I'm here in the U.S. on the F1 visa with my kids. And I have a situation back home. I'm from Liberia originally. And I have a situation where my husband had an issue where he used to work. and he was put down because it was highly political. He lost his job. We were threatened. They threatened to burn our house. We had to move. Like, we have moved twice. And then lately, I'm being told that he had an accident and people died, and it got so out of control. He started seeing family members around where we live. So does that qualify us to file for asylum as I am in the U.S. with our kids going to school?
How long have you been here?
I've been here like 9 months now.
It sounds like an asylum case to me. They're burning down your house. You had to
No,
move
they didn't
twice.
burn down. They threatened to.
Ready
We
to
had
burn down
move.
the house. They had to move twice. It sounds
Yes, and he lost his job because of that also.
It certainly sounds like you're being persecuted. We would have to figure out why, what group you belong to, but certainly it sounds like a general basis to file for asylum. You have to do it within 1 year of entry into the United States. So you only have 90 days left to do it. I would suggest have a consultation with us, and we can go through your situation in a much more detailed situation rather than just doing it here on our show. So hold on one second. Let's go to Addie in Austin, Texas. Addie.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I have a question, Brian. I filed for my children 2021. I won 30, and I've just got a receipt from them. And next month is going to be 2 years I've applied for them. So I don't know how long.
How old are your children? How old are your children?
Oh, I filed for them when they were like 14 and 12.
And what is your status?
My husband filed for them. He's a citizen.
And how long have you been waiting now?
So next month is going to be 2 years.
Okay. Your children are something called immediate relatives. Immediate relatives means they're immediately eligible for a green card. It's not quite immediate 2 years, is it? A long time. Probably an unreasonable amount of time, I would argue. And if your children have been waiting 2 years and the I-130 hasn't been approved, I would start threatening to sue the government for violating your rights and your children's rights. Your husband has a right to get the petition approved within a reasonable amount of time, and 2 years is unreasonable. So I would think of filing a mandamus or a threat of mandamus. We've been very successful with that, and that gets the cases moving along.
Yeah, because my husband is like a stepfather to them, so he filed for them like, as a
Because
children.
it's already 2 years and you're not here yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 years next month.
Quite frankly, it's not unusual, but I find it disgusting that the government can't even for 2 years adjudicate a basic I-130 visa petition. What do they have to look at? Are these children yours? Is this man a U.S. citizen? Are you legally married? It doesn't take a lot to figure out to get a case approved. So I would literally start threatening a mandamus, and I do that a lot, and we're very successful with it. And we'll get the case moving. Hold on. Let's go to Michelle in Virginia Beach. Excuse me, Michelle.
Hi, Brad. How you doing?
How you doing?
I'm good. I have a question. So I'm a U.S. citizen here. I'm originally from Jamaica, and my parents came to visit during the pandemic, and my mom and my stepdad. So I filed for my mom, and she got her 10-year green card. However, thank you. However, for my stepdad, the attorney had told my mom that once she got her green card, she could file for him immediately. But after she got her 10-year green card, he switched it up and stated that she can't do it for him. He would have to go back home, or she would have to wait until she's a citizen.
All right.
So,
a couple questions for you. How old are you?
Mm-hmm.
How old are you? If you don't mind. I know it's impolite to ask a woman. So I apologize.
I'm 37.
37. When did your mom marry this man?
She married him about, I'd say, 8 years ago.
Okay, so you were over the age of
18.
18. Okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, your mother
Mhm.
should file for him now. What country is he from?
He's from Jamaica. He's here now. He's been here and he's out of status because he's been here since
Mom needs
2020.
to file. Let me tell you what to do. Mom needs to file an I-130 visa petition for him. You have to start the process. You're not going to wait 6.5 years until mom's a citizen. Start the I-130 visa petition process. The answer is yes, he would have to go home. Now, it's scary to go home after you lived unlawfully in the U.S. for 15 years. Before you leave, after the visa petition's approved, you get something called a provisional waiver done. It's on I-601A waiver. Sometimes you hear that. And what's a provisional waiver? You're requesting forgiveness from the U.S. government. Please forgive me for living unlawfully in the United States. Please give me this waiver. This waiver is done while your stepfather is in the United States of America. He gets this waiver, this forgiveness, for all his unlawful immigration, living in America, breathing air in America illegally, whatever they want to call it. So now he has this waiver. And when you have this waiver, you can feel good about going home to Jamaica, picking up your green card and returning. Because the only reason now they can't deny you for immigration law violations. The only reason they can deny you is if you're a criminal. They don't believe you're in a real marriage with your spouse, or you don't have a good affidavit of support. I assume he's not a criminal. I assume it's a real marriage. And I assume somebody will give him a good affidavit of support. And quite frankly, I've probably done this over 1,000 times for Jamaicans, provisional waivers, and gone home and come back. And everyone goes and comes in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks. So it's perfectly fine. I know it's scary to you. It's not scary to me. I've done it so many times. Everyone goes and comes. It's perfectly fine. Let your mother file the I-130, do the provisional waiver, then he goes home and comes back. All right? Hold on if you need help. Because other than that, he's going to wait illegally here forever, and that's ridiculous. Okay? So hold on. Sunshine in Brooklyn. Sunshine.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay, so I'm calling because I am actually filing for my dad, who his son got posthumous citizenship and he passed away.
Your son, wait, you're filing for your dad, and what happened with the son? I'm confused.
So my dad's son passed away in the military. He got posthumous citizenship.
Okay.
And so he has 2 years to file. He passed away 3 months ago. However, when I'm trying to help my dad to complete the form, I'm not seeing any box available for the parent, just the widow.
There is no filing by deceased son for father. Doesn't exist.
Okay, even if he's in the military?
Even if he's in the military. If the son had filed for him and passed away before he got his green card, then somebody else can complete the case. But you would need the son to have at least started the case. Did he at least start the case?
Okay, so the fact that he didn't start the case, it can't be done.
Correct, unfortunately.
Okay, all right, no problem.
All right,
Thank you.
sorry about that. All right. So that is our meat and potatoes for the day. By the way, if you didn't get a chance to get your immigration questions asked and answered, you can always follow us on all the different social media platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. If you follow us on Facebook, and the reason why I say you can do it is because you could ask your questions there and get help. Or you can go through social media and contact my office and have a consultation with me and get help. So you can follow us on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube to Bradshaw Live. Follow us on Facebook at Bradshaw Live. Follow us on TikTok at Bradshaw Live. Follow us on Twitter at Bradshaw Live. So please follow us on all our social media platforms. And later in the show, I'll be answering questions viewers are writing in the comments of our social media check-in segment. So every person who has a question in the comment section on Facebook and YouTube right now, in about 5 minutes, I'm going to be answering those questions. But in the meantime, I do have to remind everybody that we do handle personal injury and accident cases here at Spar and Bernstein. If you drive through or ride through the subway system, maybe you even saw our advertisements on the New York City subways. If you listen to radio in New York, sometimes you may even hear our radio commercials. And so I do want to remind everybody, we do handle personal injury cases as well as immigration cases. And some people may not even realize that if you get hurt on somebody else's property, you can file a premises liability claim. So in this personal injury video, I explain what it takes to be eligible for a premises liability claim, the most common types of premises liability cases in New York, and the difference between a slip and fall and a trip and fall. Let's watch. Or maybe we'll watch. If you get hurt on someone else's property, you can file a premises liability claim. To be eligible for a premises liability claim, all the following must be true. You suffered a personal injury. Your accident occurred due to unsafe conditions. You were present on the property lawfully, which means you were hired to work there or the property owner invited you. The landowner was aware of the unsafe condition and did not take measures to remedy the situation. And the premises did not have warning signs of the potential danger. Premises liability cases include a wide range of situations, including slip and fall accidents, trip and fall accidents, inadequate lighting, negligent security, dangerous stairwell or stairwell conditions, supermarket and retail store accidents, train and subway accidents, snow and ice accidents, falling objects, elevator accidents, such as falling in an empty shaft, tripping, and more, malfunctioning equipment on the premises, dog bites, exposure to toxic chemicals, toxic mold, fires and explosions, inadequate maintenance, swimming pool accidents, amusement park accidents, drowning accidents, parking lot slip and falls, negligent road design, and roadway negligence. In a slip and fall accident, a victim falls backwards as a result of slipping on something slippery or wet on the ground, or falling due to shifting ground material or an unbalancing factor. In a trip and fall accident, a victim falls forward as a result of failing to step all the way over something that's hard or fixed, or getting a foot caught on an object. While a slip and fall accident typically leads to injuries on the face, knees, chest, or wrists, a trip and fall accident causes injuries to the back, tailbone, or back of the head. It's important to determine the distinction between the two types of premises accidents because keeping the details of the story straight plays a key role in court testimony. To determine which type of accident you suffered, contact an experienced attorney to review the details of your case. At Spar and Bernstein, we offer a free initial consultation to review your case and recommend next steps. And of course, unfortunately, accidents do happen all the time. Save our telephone number, 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465, in case you or someone you love is injured in an accident in New York, whether it's construction accident, auto accident, slip and fall, which we just talked about, medical malpractice. We can help you, and we help most of the people all of the time. All right, so let's get into social media check. And as always, our first social media check-in questions come from our Bradshaw Live VIP Brad Squad questions. Another reason to follow us on Facebook. Join our Bradshaw Squad Facebook page, group page, and you will have your immigration questions answered first, because when you join our Facebook page and our group Brad Squad page, you're a VIP. All right, first question from Tolu Adebayo. My husband has been here for 8 years with a case of asylum, but did not get approved. I'm a citizen. We have 2 kids together. I filed for him. They gave him a work authorization, but they did not renew it for him. What can he do? We don't understand why they didn't give him a green card. If he made a legal entry into the United States of America, he should be able to get a green card if we withdraw his asylum case and he never got put in removal. Maybe either he didn't make a legal entry into the U.S., maybe he's in removal. I'm not sure. We would need to know a lot more, Tolu. Fiona Thompson, what's the timeline for an adjustment approval based on special immigrant juvenile case? The I-360 was approved in April. It's about 1 year from the time you file the adjustment, so hopefully very soon. Lawrence NDB, from your recent and past observations, how long does it take for an I-751 to be adjudicated, especially based on cruelty, even after sending along 10 out of 10 evidence? At least 3 years, sometimes longer. Why is it taking so long for an interview for F1 unmarried children of U.S. citizens? There's a huge backlog. There's priority dates are backlogged. Embassies are backlogged. Everything is backlogged. It's just the whole works is gummed up. Nadine Mitchell Payne, did my interview for I-45 a year ago and still no answer. What can I do? If it's been more than a year, you can start threatening a mandamus. That's what you can do. All right, let's go to our Facebook and YouTube questions. Our first question comes from YouTube, from Sophia. Wait, is that the first question? Let's see. Nope. Our first question comes from Bernard from Facebook. Can a friend petition for his wife who's a United States citizen with his green card while he waits his citizenship? Yeah, absolutely. File for your wife with a green card, and when you become a citizen, upgrade and file the adjustment. By all means, do it. Sophia Henderson. Hello, uncle. Asking for a friend. She got an RFE, but after she got that, she was sent to do her biometrics. Will they approve the work permit? Only if she responds to the RFE, and only if she responds to the RFE properly. Other than that, she will not get a work permit. All right. Baddest boss. Hi, Brad. How long does it take to hear from USCIS on my asylum case after receiving my work authorization last April? It's been 3 years I filed for asylum. Well, they do last in, first out. If you saw the top of the show, U.S. government's being inundated with asylum cases. So probably not for a while, unfortunately. If, by the way, baddest, if you have a solid 10 out of 10 case, then we should file a mandamus or a threat of a mandamus. We'll get you an interview. Elizabeth Francis, how long after biometrics for citizenship will they take before you're notified? Citizenship's happening pretty fast these days, Elizabeth. So hopefully less than 6 months. Mika, Brad, if I can, someone who recently migrated from Jamaica, her mom filed for her. If someone recently migrated from Jamaica, her mother filed for her, she came into the country February 19th. Can she go back to Jamaica to visit the end of June for 5 days, or is it too soon? Absolutely, she can go back. If you immigrated with an immigrant visa, you're a permanent resident, go back for 5 days. Go back for 10, 20 days. It's perfectly fine. No problem. Yvette, hi, Brad. I'm a U.S. citizen. I filed for my husband in December 2022. He did a biometric in January 2023. He has not received his work permit yet. How long does he have to wait? You filed in December 2022. It's about 8 months. Sometime by the end of the summer, I would guess. Gabella Sumo. Gabkella Sumo. Hello, Brad. I met my girlfriend a few months ago, and I want to file the K-1 visa for her to come to America. We're not engaged yet. Is engagement a requirement for the K-1? Yeah. Well, she has to be your fiance, and you have to agree, and she has to agree that you will get married within 90 days of her entry. So I guess, yeah, you should get engaged. Timo. Hi, Brad. I was arrested for a DUI. They gave me 3 months house arrest and 1 year probation. I'm married to a U.S. citizen. I want to file for my green card. How should I go about it? Well, file an adjustment application, prove good moral character. It should not be inadmissible, but I can't guarantee you until I see the actual disposition. Angelique Whitaker. Hi, Brad. My daughter just got approved in my country, and she'll be coming here as a green card holder. Can I take her back to finish her school in my country? I'd like her to finish her 7th grade. Yes. Let her come to the U.S. and immigrate. Come for a week. Take her back. School will be over at June, and then bring her back full time. Absolutely. Perfectly fine. Sol Rivera. A friend of mine was applying for Obamacare, and the agent doing the application put him down as a U.S. citizen by mistake, and he's a permanent resident. Will that affect him becoming a citizen? It shouldn't, because you can get Obamacare as a citizen or a resident. Really makes no difference. Jessica Leamy, Brad, with all that's going on in Florida, is it true that ICE will not arrest you because you are married? It's not necessarily true. I can't promise you that. But I don't think ICE is going to arrest you because ICE doesn't work for DeSantis. ICE works for Biden. And Biden's not coming to Florida to arrest you. Lakeisha Lebron Headley, is it okay to travel on advanced parole? Yes, if you have a valid advanced parole, absolutely. But I wouldn't travel outside the U.S. for more than 4 to 6 weeks at a time. Martin Family Forever. Where on the I-360 do parents file for deceased citizen child? I think I answered that question. A deceased child can't file for a parent. Lucas, hello, Brad. I have a friend who has a kid with his ex-wife, and he has a wife in the U.S. Can he report a birth abroad so the child can be a U.S. citizen? Absolutely. You do a council report of birth abroad, you should absolutely do that. Dennis Johnson, hi, Brad. I got my letter from the National Visa Center in October 2022. My file for me in December 2020, and still waiting on my interview date. How long should I wait for my interview at the embassy in Kingston? I assume you got documentary qualified in October 2022. Kingston is backed up about a year. So hopefully before October 2023. Robert Jackson. It's a big question. I got to really raise myself up for this one. Hi, Brad. For someone who gets a diversity visa, is an affidavit of support required now? And if so, what if the sponsor doesn't have the income showing on the tax returns, but pay stubs from jobs shows enough income? Example, W-2 does not show per diem income since it's not taxable, but does show on the paychecks that will be acceptable for meeting guidelines. No, they're going to base it on tax returns. Find a different affidavit of support. Hi, Brad. I got on notice, say, intent to deny on the I-130 before my interview. That doesn't sound good, intent to deny. It means you have a problem with your case. Get a lawyer. Tashana McLeod. Hey, Brad, I came across the border. I filed my asylum application last year in November. Can I get married to a U.S. citizen and adjust my status without going? It depends if you were paroled into the U.S. If you were paroled into the United States, yes, you can adjust your status. If you came without inspection, then you're not eligible to adjust. But you can file an I-130 visa petition and argue before the judge that you were paroled and they marked it incorrectly, meaning you came across the border, they grabbed you immediately, you took 3 steps across the border, within a few minutes you got grabbed, they held you in detention, and then they let you into the country. Factually, that's parole, although usually they check off you entered without inspection. So then you need a good lawyer to argue you were factually paroled in and immigration's incorrect. That happens a lot these days. Mark Umali. My brother is DQ in May 2021, still waiting for scheduled interview in the Philippines. He's your client. What can you do? Well, the first thing you can do is have your brother call me. I don't know anything about his case off the top of my head, but the Philippines is way backed up. So tell him to call. Figure it out. Alicia Pendergrast. If I'm in my 10th year with a critically ill born child in the United States, is there any way I can get a green card? Well, you can get what's called deferred enforced departure, deferred action. You can put yourself in removal and apply for cancellation of removal if there would be an extreme and unusual hardship to your child, and apply for your green card that way. So there are things you can do, but we want it before you get put in removal. You would want to make sure you're going to win your case. So speak to a good lawyer first. Noni, I'm on 6-month mark on the VAWA, no ED or prima facie. Is this normal? If you filed an adjustment, you should have at least fingerprinted for a work permit. Sometimes prima facies don't come because you didn't do a good job on a VAWA case. So it depends what you filed. Andonique Harriet. Good evening, Uncle Brad. My brother lives in Florida and he's undocumented. My question is, with the new law coming into effect, where the government will be detaining and deporting persons with no status, what can you do to stay here? The state of Florida is not deporting you. They can't. Only President Biden can deport you. Department of Homeland Security. So as long as Biden is president, the worst that can happen is that you get a ticket for driving unlawfully in Florida because your driver's license is out of state, and then you fight it because that's unlawful. You have a valid license that can be used in all 50 states. But Florida is not deporting anybody. Only Biden deports people. If DeSantis or Trump becomes president, then different story. Nikki Smith. Hi, Brad. A man 28 years old, adopted by his aunt on the dad's side. He's a citizen. And he now filed for his mother. No. Once you're adopted by somebody else, you can't file for your biological parents. Hi, Brad. My daughter came to the U.S. as a green card holder in October 2019. When is she qualified to file for citizenship? By the way, where is Yo-Yo? Thank you for all you do. Yo-Yo's around. You'll see him every so often. But now I'm flying solo. That's how we're doing the show these days. And your daughter can file for citizenship in August of 2024. Sharon Thomas. Hi, Brad. My cousin's mom, who is a citizen, filed for her married daughter and family. Prior date's 2020, and she just got notification to start filling documents with the National Visa Center, but her older son, who is 22 years old, is age out. What options? If the priority date's 2020, nobody's getting a green card for at least 15 years. So I don't think the priority date's January 2020. And I don't know what options the son would have. I would have to have a consultation with them. Shani Smallin, if I get my first marriage annulled, will that negatively impact my new marriage? No, because the marriage never happened unless there's some sort of fraud with immigration, but just getting an annulment has no bearing on getting remarried again. Hello, Brad. I applied for a no objection letter. It took 14 months before it could be approved. Now my I-94 is out of status. DS 2019 was my next move. I'm an international teacher. Well, once you're out of status, the only thing you can do is get married to a U.S. citizen if you want to adjust your status, or go home and face a 3 or 10-year bar unless you can do a waiver. Nina Cole, how long after getting my LPR through the F1 category before I can file for citizenship? 5 years. 5 years. Sharon Thomas, how long will it take after submitting documents to NVC F3? Depends when your priority date is. Nuke Banga, I filed August 13th, 2021 for my VAWA. Recently got my work permit last year in October. Heard nothing yet about the VAWA approval, how long it will take for me to get approved, nor possibly get my green card. At least 3 to 4 years, so 2024, 2025. Vivian, good day to you, sir. Thanks for your wonderful program. I'm a U.S. citizen. I filed for my husband in December of 2020. I got the last letter in October stating that they've got everything they need. My question is, how long will I wait? Well, I don't know where your husband is, but let's assume he's outside of the United States. Most embassies are backed up 9 to 12 months. So if you got a letter saying that they got everything they need, hopefully he'll be here by summer or October at the latest. All right. Shani Smallin, we answered that question already. Peter R. My cousin got recently married. I told him to do a K1, but he got his wife a B2 as soon as she arrived to the U.S. 15 days after they got married. Yes, it's going to be a problem because your cousin didn't listen to you, Peter R., because the wife committed a misrepresentation. She came to the United States on a tourist visa with the intent of getting married and adjusting their status. So if she files an adjustment, it will be a problem. If she goes home and comes back again and waits 90 days, it shouldn't be a problem. Because you can come to the United States to get married. What you can't do is come to the United States to get married and then adjust if you do it within the first 90 days. Sassy. Hi, Brad. I received a green card in VAWA 2020. When can I apply for citizenship? Assuming the abuse was by a U.S. citizen, 2 years, 9 months, 3 days after you got it. So sometime in 2023. Momadou. Hi, Brad. I've been married to my wife for more than 2 years now. After filing my green card, she joined the military, undergoing her training. What should I do if she can't attend the interview? bring proof that she's in the military, from the military, and they'll reschedule it. Anastasia applied for adjustment of status through my employer's EB3 while the asylum is pending. Applied for through my, okay. My I-45 was transferred to the asylum office. Is it a common practice? What options do I have? Yeah, they're combining the two cases. You should withdraw the asylum. Martina, I'm a U.S. citizen. My sister is in the U.S. for 10 years. She came in on a visit visa. Can I file for her? Yes, but it'll take 15 years, and she's not going to be able to adjust anyway. So find a new way. Annie, I'm an immigrant. I became the victim of domestic violence from my husband, but I didn't receive my first green card yet. I was still pending. So is there any chance that the government will give me my green card? If you were the victim of domestic violence and you can prove it was a real marriage and you can prove the domestic violence and you can prove you're a good moral character, there is a 100% chance you will get your green card. Vanessa Lewis, hey, Brad, I came here on an H-2B visa, married a green card holder, but out. But out? But out what? We need to know more, Vanessa. It's not a full question. Dawn Harriet, what is an RFE? Request for more evidence. Means that whatever you submitted was not enough for them to approve the case. And they're giving you a second opportunity. HA. Hi, Brad. I have an approved F4 visa. I live abroad. My priority date is 2008. Can I get a tourist visa, then find a way to stay and wait inside the U.S.? If you have an F4, I doubt they will give you a tourist visa. But if you can get it, mazel tov. Congratulations. Brian Abdul, U.S. citizen, parent-sponsored, adult, unmarried, children. Priority date is 2018. Cases at the National Visa Center. How long for a green card interview? At least 3 or more years. GB King, please, Uncle Brad, what happens if I file another adjustment together with my VAWA application because the USCIS canceled the request for additional evidence for my I-45 when my spouse withdrew her I-130 application, but the status for the initial I-45 hasn't says denied? Well, even though it doesn't say denied, I'm sure your adjustment has been denied if your spouse withdrew the case. So file a new adjustment with the VAWA. That would be my advice. Can I get citizenship with 2 simple DUIs? If it's more than 5 years after the 2 simple DUIs, you can prove good moral character. But 2 DUIs may be a strike against you for good moral character. Could be. Latoya Hall. Hello, evening. Question. I came through the border and I didn't go to court to file for asylum. I'm married to an American citizen. Can he file for me? If you're paroled in, I answered this question already, but if you were paroled in, the answer is yes. Or you can argue you were paroled in, but rewind about 5 minutes. You'll hear the question. Can H-2B get married and sort out the paperwork in 5 months? Yes. You can adjust your status. Absolutely. Amora. Hey, Brad, I'm in the medical field and I've been sponsored for a job in the USA. If I leave, how long will it take for me to file for my fiance after we get married? Should I get married before I go or after and then file? I think if you're married and get sponsored by your employer and get your green card, it will be faster for your spouse to get a green card than if you get married after you get your green card. So the answer is get married before you leave Jamaica. When you get your green card, your spouse will be included on that case. You won't have to refile again. John Matthew, I have a green card through VAWA and I'm going to get married next month. And how can I bring my wife to USA? In front of my future wife, did officer will ask how many times I'm married. You were married twice. You tell the truth. If you have a green card, your wife will take about 3 years to get a green card to come to the U.S. Paul Frankie. Mr. Brad, the 90-day rule for minor children, too, they don't know what the parent is doing for them. Generally, no, and a minor cannot make a misrepresentation, so that's the general answer. Michael Hall, how long after I draw my I-130 application with my wife can I file a new I-130 application? But I want to go back to Paul. Why take the chance? Wait the 90 days. But yeah, you have a much stronger case against misrepresentation for a minor who doesn't know what they're doing. Michael Hall. How long after I draw my I-130 application with my wife can I file a new I-130? The next day. How can I bring my child to the USA while her I-130 is in process? Well, you can try to get her a visitor's visa, but there's no guarantee it'll happen. You could also apply for a K-3 visa, but usually those take just as long as the I-130. Roxanne, can I send a check for the total of $1,760 or do I need separate checks? Separate checks. Simone, how do you go about extending a tourist visa? File an I-539. Show you have a return plane ticket 6 months later, an I-134 affidavit supporting a good reason to stay for 6 more months. Yolanda, if a person married to a U.S. citizen has a child, 19 years old, married when he was 18, can the spouse file for him? Yes, it's a legal marriage. Claudine, Brad, you have any idea what's the holdup with the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica? We're waiting forever. Yes, Trump, COVID, people quit their jobs. Put them all together in a big mix, and you got a big mess. Big backlogs. That's what's going on because of those 3 reasons. El Mezcalito News. Can I go see my girlfriend with an advance parole? If you are eligible to get advance parole, go travel outside the U.S. and come back. Absolutely. Hola. Oh, I wish I knew how to speak Espanol, but I don't. Sorry. But if you do that in English, I'll happy to answer it. Natty, can my kids get a passport immediately after they got their citizenship without filing N-600? If they're eligible for a U.S. passport as derivative citizens, they'll get a U.S. passport, but you should also do the N-600 as well. Elizabeth Francis, Uncle Brad, if you do the N-400 biometric in February, how long will it take? I answered that. Blessing, my sister's I-360 in 2018. She's thinking of doing a mandamus. What is the best and worst result she can get? Best result is a green card. The worst result is you're denied. Because all a mandamus does is force the government to make a decision. It doesn't force them to give you a green card. But if you're eligible for it, they'll give it to you. Muhammad, I have a felony. I fly back to my country and abandon the green card. Can my wife apply for a green card again? She can if you're eligible for a waiver. I don't know what the felony is for. I can Gail. Brad, I'm a greed card holder. I assume a green card holder. You're not greedy. You're a green. My spouse is a USA 2 months ago. If I married him, can he get his work permit before his green card interview? If priority dates are current in 90 days, the answer is yes. You marry in 90 days and hope the priority date is still current to adjust your status for F2A. Let's hope. Rocky Cool, $2. Way to go. Thank you very much. Cup of coffee for Brad. Francisco de Paula Ignacio Nito. Hello, Brad. Hope all is well. I've got advanced parole with typo on my last name. Do you think that'll have issues coming back to the States? Certainly, they're going to ask some questions for sure. But the advanced parole was definitely given to you. I think you're going to have a harder time getting on the airplane than actually getting into the U.S. once you get here. I think the airplane is going to give you a problem. That's what I think. I think if you can try to get it replaced, I know it's a long time to get replaced, pain in the ass, but I think you're going to have a problem with the airplane. Marlon, hi, Brad. My wife filed for me and my daughter. We received the receipt numbers, but only my daughter received a notice letter from USCIS. It's important to get both receipt notices. Wife filed for me and my daughter received the receipt numbers, but only my daughter received a notice letter. Yes, it's important to get receipt notices for everybody. Does the RFE medical means waives the interview in the I-130s already? No, just means they're asking for the medical now and hope that they will not ask for an interview, but odds are they will not ask for an interview. Approved? Yes, probably. Melon, if you self-deport, how long do you have to wait to file for paperwork to legally try to enter again if married to a citizen in the USA? You can file immediately, but you need lots of waivers. I got my 10-year green card in 2018. When can I go for citizenship? If you were married in a bona fide marriage to a U.S. citizen right now, if you've had a green card for more than 5 years, at the 5-year mark. So I don't know if you had a 2-year card first or not. So sometime in 2023, presumably, worst case scenario. Melissa, hello, Brad. I received a C-10 cancellation removal, but on January 2021, went before a judge. And since my lawyer withdrew from my case, they told, I don't know what the rest of the question is, Melissa. I don't know why your lawyer withdrew, but you better get a good lawyer. Simone Merchant, hi, Brad. I entered the United States on a visitor's visa, getting married before my I-94 expired. My fiance just applied for citizenship. What's the next step? Get married. Let him file for you. When he becomes a citizen, upgrade the case and adjust your status. Tawan, can my sister file for me? How long does it take? 10 years, 12 years? Who knows if you'll be able to adjust? Long time. George in the kitchen. If I file my I-75 and see my case was updated to show fingerprints, how long do I have to wait? Until my 751, you're going to wait several years. Rocky, married a U.S. citizen in 2019, nothing approved yet. I had been arrested multiple times, but they never convicted or guilty of any cases dismissed. Will they approve my green card? If you were arrested multiple times, they may not for moral character issues. Depends what the arrests were for. Odu Jafar, hello, please, can I add my spouse as a beneficiary for bank account? Or is a joint bank account? It's very important. Yes, joint bank account is very important. Shows you're in a bona fide marriage. Bona fide marriage financial relationship starts with a joint bank account. I say it all the time. Extraordinarily important. Last Mupundi, can I adjust my status to marriage when I was given a conditional parole? Yes. How long does it, Simone, how long does it take for an 11-year-old to file for an 11-year-old? My husband filed for her. He's a citizen. I don't know where your 11-year-old is, but let's assume your 11-year-old's in another country about 2.5 years. If they're here, about 1 year to adjust. Hassel Nuhu. After I schedule for my asylum fingerprint, how long does it take to get a date? I don't know. But if you're just filing for asylum now, probably 9 months. Odur, is a government health insurance affect my marriage green card case? No, it will not. Go for Obamacare. Jay, bless Brad. I'm concurrently filing an adjustment. Update is act case reviewing biometrics, especially NBC. Any update? You'll get a green card in 2024. Let's get rich. I'm all in favor of that. Can an H-2B visa worker do an adjustment if they have an immediate relative who's a citizen, father to son? Father to son over 21 is not an immediate relative. That's a 7 to 8 year wait. So the answer is no. Junior, can my spouse have a fake social to get her apartment affect me with my case? If you're part of the scam, yeah. Manpreet, I came to the U.S. at 16, crossed the border, filed asylum. I'm 22, it's still pending. Can I adjust my status to a marriage? Only if you were paroled into the United States. Minaj. But what you can do is if you have a pending asylum, you can apply for advanced parole, leave the U.S., return, make a legal entry, and then adjust your status. Manoj, tell us about a U visa and what year does bona fide determination is given now? Well, they're supposed to be giving bona fide determinations for every U visa application that's filed. If your case is at the NVC, can I still apply for a visitor's visa? You can, but you'll probably be denied. Margarita, hi, Brad. How long do I have to wait to receive my work permit after biometrics? Well, it should be about 8 months or so from the time you filed. And you do your biometrics about 2 months after you file, and then another 6 months. Barik, I got married after 28 days to a permanent resident. I came in a tourist visa. Will that be considered misrepresentation? Possibly, yes. Richard, you don't even see my face anymore. This is such a big question. Aloha. I guess he is in Hawaii. Lucky him. Good day to you. I'm one of the silent readers on your pages. I have a question regarding about the new USCIS Child Status Protection Act eligibility of a child derivative who already aged out before the interview in Manila. I hope you can help us to decide. Here's the information. Visa category F3, priority date January 28th, 1993. Principal immigrant were interviewed March 2014. Principal immigrant is now, I don't know the rest of the question. Child derivative is now 34 years old. Date of birth is May 18th, 89. Immigrant visa application fee was paid May 20th. My question is, we waited for so long. Got it. So visa category F3, 93. And depends on how long the I-130 took to get approved. I don't know that information. If you tell me how long it took the I-130 to get approved, I'll tell you if that child's included still or not. Do F1 students get 10-year ban if they were not formally adjudicated to be out of status? You would get a 10-year ban if you were not in school, yes, and lived in the United States undocumented for more than a year. Christian Bennett, Brad, my husband filed for his daughter in 2019. He paid all the fees and was waiting the appointment in Jamaica. He was told she aged out by 2 months. Can I make an appointment with you so that you can calculate? Yes, you should, Christine. Jamaica makes errors all the time. Tariq, hi, Brad. My brother is filing for me. My priority date is current over a year now. Can my case be expedited for humanitarian reasons? Perhaps. Depends what it is. Karen Buckner, hi, Brad. I'm in Florida, married to a citizen. I did apply for adjustment status. I'm currently working with the new immigration laws in Florida. Should I be worried? No, you should not. File your adjustment. You'll be fine. DeSantis can't deport anybody. Can my brother, who's in the military and is a citizen, file for me and my mother? Your brother can file for your mother for certain, and she'll get a green card, and you can file for you, but you'll wait 15 years. Simone, hola, can my husband file my 10-year-old child while a citizenship application is pending? Yes. Child's in another country. Yes, he can and should. I'm a green card holder. My parents were given a visa. Is it possible for me to invite my daughter for a short visit and use my parents' visit as an excuse for them to travel with my daughter? Sure, you can try. What's the worst that'll happen? Oh, the I-130 was approved 1993. All right, let me go back to Richard. And yeah, so the child only has about 1 year. If the I-130 was approved in the same year it was filed, child has before 22 before ages out. So that child aged down, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. Damaris. Hi, Brad. My aunt filed for my mom. Is she still here in the U.S.? She got the I-130 approved several years ago. She wants to adjust her status while she's in the U.S. She's living in the U.S. years now. My aunt filed for my mom. And she's in the U.S. She got her I-130. Yeah, but sister to sister can't adjust. Sorry. When did you file the N400 green card? Started February 2019. December 20... You could go February 24, December 2023. That would be within 90 days of the 5-year anniversary. And last question. Case was updated to show fingerprints were applied to I-765. How long will it take for the I-765 to get approved? The answer is I have no idea, but I would have guessed 6 to 8 months from the time you filed. Second to last question. VAWA was approved in January. What is the average timeline for green card? If you filed the adjustment, about a year. All right. One last question. 12-year-old waiting for interview letter. Anyway, I can bring him quicker. He's not being treated good. Yes, if you can show that the child is having extreme problems where he's living and not being treated well, and no one's taking care of him. Absolutely, that's a good reason to expedite. All right. So that is our social media check-in for 2023, May 15th, 2023, quite frankly. And I do have to also say that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we thought it was a good idea to shine a light on mental health on our show. I spoke with Kofi Peprah, a professor of geography who has immigrated to the U.S. from Ghana in 2004 and settled in California. Through his psychologist wife, Kofi became exposed to the pervasiveness of mental illness, which, according to the National Alliance of Mental Health, affects 1 in 5 people. So that means at least 40 people, 50 people watching right now, perhaps even more, have mental health issues. Watching the show right now, the second, maybe more. As a result, Kofi became a board member of the African Communities Public Health Coalition, also known as the African Coalition, an organization that provides mental health services for Africans as well as other immigrant communities here in the U.S. Let's watch. California is Kofi Peprah. Now, Kofi is a board member of the African Communities Public Health Coalition, also known as the African Coalition. Kofi and the members of the African Coalition joined together almost 10 years ago in response to the growing challenges of mental illness in African in the United States and to the lack of cultural competent outreach and educational mental health services. Kofi, welcome to Bradshaw Live. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Brad, for doing such a beautiful review of what we do.
Oh, thank you. Now, you are originally from Ghana, I understand. You're now living in California. Tell us about your immigration background.
Okay, I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa. I moved to the United States in 2004 when I met my sweetheart who was studying at Ghana University. I was also working over there, and she said, "Hey, let's go to America." And I said, "All right, cool."
Why not,
So,
right?
Why not?
Why not?
So I moved here in 2004, and I've been living here since then.
Wonderful. And you got your green card through, I guess you married this woman, correct?
Yes,
And-
yes,
and-
but it wasn't very easy because
Why?
I came with the K1 visa where
Right.
we're given like 3 months to get married.
Right.
After we get married, I got a conditional, and just to change to become permanent resident, there was some messed up application process, and it took me forever to get my permanent residence. So I have to see my Congress person, Adam Smith, in California for them to process my case for me. So it wasn't easy.
That's why guys like me exist.
I
That's
know.
why this immigration show exists. You actually had to do 3 cases. You had to do a fiance visa just to come to America. Then you had to do a 2-year conditional green card. And then you had to go get your permanent green card. And are you a citizen now?
Yes, I
So
am a
now that was the
citizen.
4th case you had to do with immigration just to eventually become a citizen. It's not an easy process. Now, you are a professor of geography. You also started this coalition that helps Africans to adjust to life here in America and also helps them if they have some sort of mental illnesses or depression or anxiety over whatever may be troubling them in life. How'd you go from expertise in geography to recognizing that there's this need and starting a coalition that helps people with mental illness?
You know, geography is about spatial organization of things on the Earth's surface. So we look at where and why things are where they are. And so I was in graduate school in UC San Francisco studying global health. And when I came back to Los Angeles, my wife was, she's a psychologist. She was working with some group from Ethiopia. And she's like, look, these African groups are really helping out. So go check it out. When I went, I saw that, wow, there's a need for helping people who are experiencing mental health challenges in California. So I joined it, and then we incorporated it. So what we were doing is go to the community, talk to them about the services that are available and why they should not just keep the mental health issues to themselves. Because, you know, in Africa, if somebody has mental health issues, there's a lot of superstitions about it. You know, some might think, oh, you've been cursed, or you committed a crime.
People, or if you go see a psychiatrist, they think that they must be crazy.
They must be crazy. They use the term crazy.
Right.
And so nobody wants them to be crazy.
Right.
But our aim is to tell them that the mind can also get sick. Just like your body can get sick, your leg can get sick, your tummy can get sick. And so you seek support. And so what happened is that we got Department of Mental Health in LA to help support us. So we're doing outreach. And so through the outreach, we found out that the main key that is giving a lot of people mental health issues were immigration. Because a lot of Africans came, some of them came as refugees, some of them came as students whose visa expired, some got married, and then their marriage got, dissolved, and they don't know what to do. And so there was a lot of challenges over there. So we incorporated the immigration services.
What is the most important information that you think that people who immigrate from Africa need to know?
What we want them to know is that there are services available for any mental health challenges people have, and that if you have mental health issues, doesn't mean that you are condemned and stuff like that, or you can function in society, because there's a lot of services there. And African Coalition, we have well-trained Africans from all over. So we have mental health psychologists from every African community who provide culturally appropriate services to you, talk to you in your own language, let them know, let you know that, hey, you are not alone and that we understand your case and stuff like that.
So when you go out and do this outreach, how do people know to find you?
We do outreach programs and we train community advocates. We have a group from Sierra Leone. We're training people from Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia, and they are like our source, or they are that link into the community. And so they will refer us to people there. They will tell them, hey, this guy is having this challenge. Sometimes we call in, or sometimes they refer them to our office and stuff like that. And then when we go for outreach programs like you can see in the picture here. We were holding an African leadership conference where the leaders from various communities, we brought them to our office where we talk about what we provide, and they are the link to the community, and they will be the one referring people to us and stuff like that. So usually we target the leaders.
Right. This could be immigrants from, I guess, presumably anywhere in the world, although you are concentrating on people who come from Africa. You're going into those communities, but it literally could be you could help anybody.
It could be anybody. We are more like, hey, why don't we help our people? You know, and then while we are helping, we find other people also coming in from Haiti, mostly from Black Africa, from the Caribbeans, everybody coming over to say, hey, we need help.
On your Instagram account for the African Coalition, you have a lot of gripping messages there about mental health. I'm going to read a few here. One says, not all wounds are visible. Another one says, Black people are 20% more likely to experience serious mental health problems. Another one says self-love. And another one says, how do you help someone with depression? Do you want to talk about this? Where did these messages come from?
So yeah, these are very important things. This is not like something we just got out of nowhere. It is like a lot of Africans, especially immigrants from Africa, are walking around, and if you go close to them and talk to them, a lot have a lot of mental health issues in terms of where do we go? I'm having an issue at my job. I'm being discriminated against. I feel like because I'm from Africa, I have an accent, so they underestimate me. And I'm just tired of that. What do I do? You know, and stuff like that. And we provide them with counseling that, look, it's not you only. Everybody go through those problems, but we can help you out. You have to talk out your issues. And we find somebody who speaks the language, who understand them, to be able to establish rapport with them and talk and stuff like that. And just like I said, because Africa in America, they group us all together as Blacks. Right. But the point is that, yes, we are all Blacks, but Africans from the continent have a unique problem compared to the African American born here, because if most Africans from back home may have immigration issues, African Americans don't have that issues, right? If they have some kind of discrimination against even just speaking, like, hey, where you from? No matter what, I say I've been here since 2004. I'm a full-blown American. Every time they still ask me, where are you from? Right. Even if I tell them, what do you mean by where you from? It's, oh, where you actually born. I'm like, okay, but what are you actually born? They're like, oh, I'm born in California. I'm like, where did your great-grandfather came from? Okay, I'm Irish. It's like, at what point in time will you become American? Right? And a lot of people are contributing to this society, but yet they still feel like they are not being integrated into the society, causing a lot of mental health problems. So our point is, how do you help such a person if you don't understand their culture, if you don't understand where they're coming from?
And I'll say this, just because you need to see someone for mental health issues, to me, it's like going to the gym to work out your body. No matter whether they were born in America, they were born in another country, no matter what their immigration status is. I've never met a human being who probably couldn't benefit from having at least some sort of mental health counseling. It's just like working out in the gym, your muscles, you got to work out your mind as well. It always feels good to talk to someone, make sure you're on the right track. It's fantastic what you do. How can people find out more about your organization?
You can go online and look for www.africancoalition.org.
Kofi Peprah, that's amazing. All of these services you do for free. You get funded by the County of Los Angeles, I assume. And what you're doing to help people, you're really making a difference, and a fantastic job. And of course, thank you for your time and coming on our show.
Thank you for the interview.
All righty, we're back. We're ready for speed round, the last part of our show, where I will answer 10 immigration questions in 50 seconds, or Jill in the control room will blow me up. Let's do it. All right, we're going to count Jill down so we can start at the right time. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Can you travel state to state if you overstay your visa? Yes. Can an IR1 conditional resident green card holder file for their foreign spouse? No, because you got your green card through marriage. How long does it take to get a green card through VAWA? 3+ years. Does Majorca's CBP1 app parole turn into amnesty? No, it does not. It turns into asylum, perhaps. Can my spouse sponsor me and her dad at the same time? Yes. Does filing for a green card affect eligibility for OPT? Maybe, because OPT is not immigrant intent. How soon can you apply for a green card on H-1B visa? The next day. When is the earliest you can file a mandamus? Within a reasonable amount of time. There's no earliest. Why did I receive an EAD without a biometrics appointment? Because they already have your fingerprints. Can you apply for citizenship by mail or online? Either way, both. I did it in 3 seconds flat. Wow. And they blew me up anyway? I don't believe this. How'd you blow me up? I did it. All right, you're giving me balloons now, but you blew me up. But I did it. But I did it within 3 seconds. All right, next time you won't blow me up. I just don't want to get, if I win, I don't want to get blown up. I just want to get balloons. All right. Comments of the day. Comments of the day. Let's do it. We're ready for comments of the day. All right. Comments. First comment is Jessica Lamy. Joel. Uncle Brad with the immigration gems. You all better listen up. Good point. Mika Hewitt. If Brad can't get your green card, no one can do it. Just so don't even bother trying anywhere else. Also good point. Marie Smith, your program has helped me so much. I just want to say thank you. I never used a lawyer, just your information, prayers, help from friends, blessings to everyone who's going through it. I'm glad it's working out for you. Shani Smallin, I became a citizen. It's all thanks to the advice from Uncle Brad has given and what I've heard. Well, congratulations, Shani. And last one, Arlene Small, you are the best lawyer anyone could have. God bless you, Brad. Thank you very much, Arlene. I appreciate the kind words. And we have come to the end of our show, but we are going to be back the week after Memorial Day, which I believe is June 5th. That will be in 3 weeks. Until then, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all Bradshaw Live. We got lots of great content, lots of great immigration and personal injury information and more. Have a great evening. Have a great week. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you back the week after. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein Law Firm, located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAW-LINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. doing?